All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the MMA Stop. Today, I'm here with the great Helen Yee. She's one of the most premier MMA reporters. She's covered on ESPN, BT Sports, you name it. She's been there. So, Helen, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Another, great fight week ahead. So looking
Hmm.
forward to it, and it's great to chat with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Helen, I wanted to have you on stage. Just kind of, I'm trying to cover all kind of aspects of MMA with my thing, whether that's the fighters, people who interview fighters like yourself, cover the events, refs, judges, kind of everything, kind of looking into the corners that some places don't necessarily cover. Um,
Awesome.
mhm. Yeah, so just to start off, you swam for most of your life growing up, right?
Yeah, since I was 5.5. So I swam until I was 14. I swam
Mhm.
competitively for about those like 9 years or so. Year round, that was what I would eat, sleep, and do. So eat, sleep, and swim. And then I quit club swimming when I was 14, so I swam sophomore, junior year. I won state in both my events, 50 free, 100 free, when I was a junior. And then I just, long story short, couldn't swim any longer. So that dream kind of ended abruptly.
Was it due to like an injury or what?
No, you know what? I never really got closure from it. And I
Hmm.
think that's probably why I'm back training, trying to achieve my goals now for
Yeah.
2024. It was, I guess, because my parents, I'm full Chinese and they come from, a different country. So to them, I
Hmm.
think it was academics was more important. Not saying, and look, I don't want to say like, oh, I wasn't doing well in school, but I
Yeah.
think they maybe didn't understand the importance of athletics, even though I was getting scholarships basically school.
Hmm.
So yeah.
So you're training out for 2024 now?
Yeah, it's a lot of work,
Hmm.
but I'm willing to do what it takes. I've had that taste of it when I was young. Some of my former teammates or training partners or people I competed against, they're all either Olympians now or pros now. So I love a good challenge and challenging kind of my mind, body, spirit, my soul. What better way than in athletics, and of course something I've done since I was like 5 years old, swimming.
So when swimming kind of got to an abrupt halt for you, was that when you decided to move into media?
No, you know what? Media was actually never something I wanted to do. Even as a swimmer, I would get interviewed by like the local newspapers
Mhm.
and the local TV stations. And it was never something because I was always kind of the shy, like non talkative person. And I literally in school always wished I was invisible, like in class, just hope that the teacher would never see me. So I would never get called on for anything. And I hated public speaking, hated talking to people. The only thing that truly made me feel comfortable in life was swimming, was just
Hmm.
competing in something athletic in sports. And so it was when I was 22, because when I quit swimming, I kind of fell into a bit of a depression, just lost my identity
Hmm.
because since I was 5 years old, when you eat, sleep, and swim, and especially when you achieve something like in a sport, and then your whole life, that's all you know. Like I identified myself as an athlete or a swimmer. Then when it gets taken away from you and you don't really know what to do with your life, at least I didn't. So when I was 22, I just remember I hated myself because I was very shy. I hated speaking. And the only thing that would make me feel comfortable doing was talking about sports because I still had that passion and desire
Hmm.
for it. And I loved combat sports. I loved watching WWE, which kind of transitioned
Oh yeah.
into like more MMA, boxing, and whatnot. I used to have a lot of the books and whatnot. But yeah, so I started my own sports radio show, Eyes on the Game,
Hmm.
to kind of get over my fear of speaking and through my love of sports.
Nice. Okay, I just want to backtrack real quick. What was the
Yeah.
degree you were going to school for?
Honestly, I didn't really even know like what I was doing. It was so when I was a swimmer, my dream
Mhm.
was to become a turn pro. Like who doesn't? I know it's hard, and become an Olympian or make it to Olympic trials and go to USC, study business, maybe be a swim coach when, after all was said and done after my
Mhm.
swimming career, and or doing something in business. Like that's just something when I was 10 years old that I told myself, okay, that's what I want to do. And I never thought that I would have to um, think about anything else. Like I thought that was, just my clear path. I made short-term and long-term goals. It was all swimming based, right? Sports based. So when that came to an end, I kind of just went to school, try to get a GED, but I didn't really
Mhm.
like it. And I honestly, I mean, I did not know what to do with myself. I totally lost my identity, and I just kind of went to school to see what I would like, but I knew what I hated, which I couldn't talk to people, and I hated that. So I just liked a good challenge, and that's why I wanted to do this.
So you started Ice on the Game in 2014, right?
Yeah, when I was 22, around your age, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I'm 24 right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I saw
yeah,
that.
close. So when you started it, was it just a website? Was it kind of like a podcast? What was the initial form of it?
So so a few months ago, before I started that, I did this
Mhm.
radio show with two other women, and it was they wanted me on. They talked kind of like fashion entertainment, and I was like, no, like if you want me a part
Yeah.
of it, I only want to talk sports. Honestly, I don't care about like fashion entertainment. Like fashion stresses me out enough, shopping for clothes. But so I was like, I'll talk about sports. And the producer, he brought me on, and then they were very outgoing. And again, I'm very shy, reserved, just kind of keep to myself. And the producer was like, you're not very good at this. Like, he pulled me aside one of the days,
Mhm.
and that just pissed me off so bad. I'm like, wow, I hate
That
myself.
competitive
Like,
drive.
oh, yeah. Like, that was
Oh yeah.
the first time that I felt a fire like lit on my ass, like the first time since I was a swimmer. And I love that competitiveness. And I was like, you know what? And I love self improvement. So I was like, let me see if I can like improve myself and challenge myself. And let me try to do this because he says I suck so bad. Let me do it, And so 2014, and his show, it was like internet radio show. So I
Mhm.
went to that like radio station, and
Did
I
you get
was like,
fired from that show essentially?
yeah,
Okay.
whatever. Yeah, I just
But
I,
but it was
I
all
don't
meant to
even
be.
talk to them. Yeah, well, here's the thing, and you're very right. But so I started Eyes on the Game, and I initially started it with another co-host, like one of my friends'
Mhm.
boyfriend at the time, because he loves sports. And I was like, you know what? Like, I can't talk for an hour by myself. Like, no way. So let me have someone else and, go back and forth. And then after a few months, he quit on me because he's like, you suck. Like, this will never be something. So I'm out, basically. And I just remember like crying, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I suck at this. I don't know what to do with myself. Like, but I was buying time. So it wasn't like the radio station hired me. I was trying to find my own sponsors and
Mhm.
pay essentially for airtime. Yeah. And then I tried to find another co host. And then long story short, I mean, it didn't work out. And I was like, you know what? Should I quit? Like, you just go through all these thoughts. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, I'm really not good at this. Maybe I was just meant to, I guess, swim. I have no idea. Um, and then, I just thought about it, and a few friends just told me and encouraged me to keep going because I truly love sports. And, I love getting to know the athletes and,
Mhm.
everything about what I do.
Have you connected with the producer or the old co-host at all since then?
I have no idea what they're doing.
They're
I
kicking themselves right now, probably.
You know what? I hope they're happy. I hope they're in a
Yeah.
good place. I mean, I'm happy now and
Mhm.
I'm in a good place. So I hope the same for them.
What do you think your big breakthrough is so far with the eyes of the game?
2016, I think it was
Hmm.
back in May. And so I started the radio aspect. So actually, before that, I would like write articles here and there, whether it was like NBA articles or interview, some fighters and then turn it
Hmm.
into just a written article because at the time, again, I didn't want to be seen. And then so I did radio, but knowing like, look, my voice, I mean, it's not like the greatest. So, but I did it to challenge myself to try to improve myself. And then I had a lot of people just, push me like, look, you should do it on camera. And I'm like, no, like, look, it's not really like my personality. Like, I'm just, not really into that. But then they're like, no, please just like give it a try. So I was like, fine. Like, they pushed me like enough to where I was like, okay. So I think, was it early? So anyway, couple years ago, when I started on camera, so 2016 then, and this
Hmm.
is when I was, one woman band, writing, producing, editing, hosting, getting guests, like doing everything between getting sponsors, but I loved it all. And I interviewed, it was on the red carpet, Floyd Mayweather Sr. And
Yep.
shout out to Floyd Sr. I will never
Hmm.
forget this. And he told me, I asked him, and again, on camera, I'm like nervous as hell, like, oh my gosh, sweating
Yep.
profusely, And I asked him, like, do you think your son will ever come out of like retirement? Referring to Floyd Jr., of course. And he's
Hmm.
like, yeah, he's going to come out to fight a MMA fighter. And I said, is that
The
Conor
big
McGregor?
reveal.
Yeah, is that Conor
Hmm.
McGregor? But I remember at the time, and when I posted that, and then, I did get a lot of backlash too. Like people were saying I was like crazy or quote fake news or whatnot.
Yeah.
And but in my mind, it just like from Senior, he seemed very genuine about it. And honestly, like I was just so freaking scared doing it. I was like,
Yeah.
wait, what did he tell me? Oh, like what did he tell me? But yeah, from that moment, and then that's when like Fox Sports, Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, like they played that interview on
Yep.
Fox Sports, which at the time I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then TMZ like posted it because I remember I went to the radio station like the next day or two, and they said basically like they're coming up to me like, oh, we saw you, you're on TMZ or whatever.
Hmm.
And from there, a couple months later, the radio station finally decided to hire me. Because I
No more
was
paying
like,
for time.
I was
Uh,
literally grinding my ass off.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, eat, sleep, and do that. Actually, barely not any sleep because at the time I was also like cocktail waitressing.
Hmm.
And then like I quit my cocktail waitress job, but I saved up like all my tips to just like try to pursue this. It was rough because also in the beginning I would cocktail waitress like the graveyard shift
Hmm.
and then study sports during the day. But the graveyard shift, some of them would be like 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. So it got pretty, there were some dark days. Yeah.
And so when you asked about if he was going to be fighting Conor McGregor at this,
Yeah.
from your recollection, was there even rumors about this happening at the time, or was this just kind of a?
To be honest, not like I do not think so. I'm trying to like think back to that moment. No, I think it was just, just like on the whim. I
Mhm.
was just asking him because like I think everyone was um talking about, would he ever come back? And then,
Mhm.
I asked him, but even after I asked him and after that interview, because like to me, it got, it blew up like in my eyes because I was like, oh my gosh, a lot of people are watching this. Like, and then in my mind, I'm like, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing. Like, I'm just trying
Hmm.
to hold the mic. Like, am I doing this correct? I have no idea. So at that time, I remember also being very nervous because then after a lot of like major outlets or major journalists or whatever were like, oh, this is fake news and whatnot. And then I was like, oh my God, like I look like an idiot, but he told me, but I believe him.
Hmm.
I feel like he's telling me the truth. So then from there, I was like, you know what, this is a story like I'm interested. I want to see, is Floyd going to come back? So then I would interview like Jeff Mayweather, basically kind of
Hmm.
camp out near the gyms and stuff and just try to
Gotta get
unfold
the
the
next
story.
scoop, unfold the story.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, so a lot of people know that you work with the Schmo, Dave.
yeah.
How did you guys come into connection with each other?
We actually met during, when was it? So late 2018. I mean, if you want to know the like full real story or the half.
No, whatever you want, whatever you're willing
Okay.
to give.
Yeah, so we would cross paths here and there, but he was doing his own thing. And to be
Hmm.
honest, like, and I was an MMA fan, well, obviously, but even before, 2014, before I started Eyes on the Game, I clearly obviously love watching the sport. I would also read like a lot of the major outlets still there today. Even read like, some of those forums, right? That you gotta like dig through and stuff. So um I've never, like years ago when I first started, I never heard of the Schmo. Like I'll be honest, he knows too. And
Yeah.
so he was doing his own thing with USA Today. He has a great story as well, very, very inspirational.
Hmm.
And then I was doing my own thing with the radio station, just kind of grinding, being a one woman band. And I think late 2018, my transmission in my car broke. And I was like, oh, great. Because I was going from like a press conference and then there was something in boxing too. And I was like, oh my gosh, my car literally broke in LA, and
Yep.
I'm from Vegas. So it's like I'm out of town. I have no idea what to do. I have to Uber everywhere because I can't miss these press conferences, can't like miss my
Hmm.
work. So I was determined. I was like, even if I have to walk, I'll freaking do it, whatever it takes. But uh, yeah, I saw him. Well, that's the first time I really like notice, I guess.
Hmm.
And then I was like, oh, this guy seems harmless. Like, who is this guy? Like I'll sit next to him because I'm like sweating, like, oh my gosh, my transmission. I'm like, what do I do? But after that, I would see him, at some of the other fights. And January 2019, and that was before he like, had his breakout moment, I guess you could say.
Oh yeah.
That was a couple months after. But in January, like we just, started talking a lot and we literally like hit it off. And I think it was because we're both like young, hungry, driven people and kind of have like the same values, the same, motivation. And we're both, we both love our work. So we just been inseparable since.
Yeah, and you guys make a hell of a duo. It's always entertaining when you guys are together.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Hmm.
he has inspired me, and I will say, when we interviewed Anderson Silva this
Hmm.
one time, I'll never forget because he and I still tell him like, but he asked me because I'm like about to do a one-on-one with Anderson at his gym, and then he was like, hey, can I, get like, I just need 90 seconds to interview Anderson Silva. And in my mind, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, I mean, out of respect, I'm like,
That
who
was
the
the first time I saw the Schmo
uh
in a press conference. I had that same thought.
me too. I mean, even like months before the press conference, like, but funny enough, it's like right before we started dating. But I was like, who the hell? And even watching him, I'm like, what the fuck? Because I've been covering the sport for quite a few years, like before, again, I noticed,
Hmm.
and he covered NFL and whatnot before he covered MMA. So Yeah, I was just he was like, "Can I get, 90 seconds?" But in my mind, I was like, "Oh, yeah, whatever. 90 more seconds for me to like get my camera set up because I'm doing everything myself." So yeah, but I remember like he made the same impression to you as he did with me.
Yeah. So obviously with your career, you get to travel all around the world. What are your favorite? I guess let's start with your favorite location you've been able to go to due to your job.
Ooh, you know what? Melbourne, Australia was
Hmm.
pretty freaking cool. Also Tokyo, and I love sushi. So having like authentic sushi in Japan, that was really cool. Um, of course, last year, Fight Island, that was
Hmm.
one of, if not the best experience. It was just really awesome from the minute, being on the plane till we got there. And I mean, I know everything was essentially a bubble, but what they were able to pull off and what the UFC and Dana White
It's
was
really
able
incredible.
to do last year, incredible. And
Hmm.
again, even being on that island, it was I'm grateful to have that experience.
And how long were you out? How long were you on the island for?
Uh, so we've been there 3 times last year. The
Hmm.
first time it was, I think, about 3 weeks. Yeah, last summer. So 3 weeks. And then, after that, it wasn't as long. But the first stint was, I think, about 3 weeks.
As someone who's gone to a lot of fights, obviously you've been to a lot of ones with fans in attendance, and then you've gotten one of the few people who's gotten the opportunity to go to some of the fights with no fans in attendance.
Mhm.
Uh, what do you think? Like, what experience do you like more? Was it? Do you think it was cooler to have the no fans? And I imagine it had to feel a lot more intimate.
Yeah, well, they're very different and they're both
Mhm.
very unique in their own ways. Obviously, with the fans, I mean, just listening to all of them cheering and for the walkouts
Mhm.
or for knockouts, submissions, it's just, of course, like having the fans there, it's an experience that, I mean, I wish like everybody can experience. Like, it's incredible. Not having fans there, uh, it was like more intimate where you can hear coaches, and I believe quite a few fighters have mentioned too, they could also hear the commentators
Oh
and
yeah, I
whatnot,
think that
or
was
even
the first night.
yeah,
I think they
yeah,
were talking about like Daniel, we can hear you.
yeah, or
DC man, we
even
can hear
yeah,
you.
even making adjustments because of what
Uh-huh.
they heard from the commentators. So both are very unique in their own ways. But I'm just very, like I said, very grateful to be able to continue to cover this amazing sport.
Mhm. Yeah, we very much like having you do that. Um,
Thank you.
so are you looking forward to UFC 261 then over in Jacksonville?
I am. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's a
I
great
can't
card.
I know, amazing
Hmm.
freaking fight card, and I can't wait to experience the fans again.
Absolutely, yeah. I think a lot of fans are itching to get back. I signed up for the pre-sale today and went to try to get a ticket and it was already gone.
Yeah, I heard like they sold out
Oh
quick.
no. I
Wait,
think they fully open up tomorrow, so I gotta I have an alarm set ready to go.
oh yeah, like every like 5 seconds, keep
Oh yeah.
refreshing. Yeah.
So you consider yourself a foodie, correct?
Oh, I love food. 217 pounds. Gotta love food.
Oh yeah. So talk me through how did you get a pizza named after yourself at Naked City Pizza?
Wow. Shout out to Naked City Pizza. I love their pizza.
Hmm.
Um, so, like I said, I love food to the point where after I quit swimming, I still had the swimmer's appetite. And I don't know, like, people have heard like Michael Phelps talk about, swimmers have big appetites.
Hmm.
Um, I still had that big appetite. My stomach, I mean, it never shrunk since. So, I would basically eat like family size portions. And Italian food was my favorite. So, I gained 217 pounds. And when I lost weight, I still loved, pizza. That was my favorite food. So I would have different addictions. And I know it sounds
Hmm.
crazy, but I would go through, I had a nacho addiction where everything
Oh,
I just
nachos are so
need.
good though.
Yeah. Oh my God, amazing.
One of
Just
the
had
best
them the
foods.
other day. Best food. Yeah. I mean, pizza's number one, but that's, within top five right now. So
Oh
I
yeah.
had a nachos addiction, and then I had a French fry addiction, and I had a chicken wing addiction. And I know, like, these are bad addictions.
I'm
And then,
currently in my chicken wing addiction phase right now.
oh, dude. Well, I love hot wings, but barbecue wings, I love them too. They're so
Have
good.
you had the Poirier's Louisiana hot sauce yet?
No, so I need to tell Dustin Poirier. I mean, next time, I get a chance to
What?
interview him,
Get it over to
I
Helen, Dustin.
I
What are you
try to
doing?
buy it. Yeah, I try to buy it. Even the other day, I go on the website, sold out, which
I've
I'm
gone through
very,
3 bottles already. It's
what?
delicious. It's really, really good.
You're so lucky. I've heard great things about it, but
Hmm.
yeah, every time it's like sold out, and then I'm like, wait, like, what do I do? Like, maybe I need to set an alarm too.
Yeah.
Every few days or every few hours, got to just refresh and see when they restock. But yeah, I've heard great things about Dustin Poirier's hot sauce. But yeah, so I went through my chicken wing phase, French fry phase, so the French fry phase and the pizza phase kind of overlapped,
Hmm.
where, it's like, I'll just freaking eat fries. Like, I can't stop. And when I say I can't stop, it's like, I can't,
Hmm.
I'm not exaggerating. So I would eat pizza almost every single day. And I would post about it. I would talk about it on my radio show. I love pizza. And I'm not sponsored by Domino's. I don't look. I told my boyfriend in the beginning I would, order the Domino's 3-topping large for $7.99, and plus tax at the time it was like $8.64. So I would always order that almost every day, but I would try to find like different pizza places and talk about it. And shout out to Chris at Naked City Pizza. I guess like he followed me, and on Twitter one day he was like, if Helen could have a pizza, what would her toppings be? And I told him, with gotta have French fries. I love bacon, sausage, like pepperoni and stuff. And he brought it to life, and it's the best pizza ever. So you got to try it. I would have offered to send you one, but which I could ask Chris if those could be sent like frozen or whatnot. But
Yeah. Well,
when
that'd be
you,
awesome.
yeah, I'll ask him. But if not, like if you ever come to Las Vegas,
I'm planning on it.
it's amazing. Yeah.
So we got some fights tomorrow night. Obviously the big one, Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic, the
Mhm.
rematch. They have Francis as the favorite, and the
Yeah.
champ Stipe is the underdog, which I think is a little weird thing you've seen, that he won the first fight and he's the champion. It's kind of rare that you see
Yeah.
the odds be reversed like that. But so who do you think is gonna win? Who do you got on this one?
You know what? I will be honest with you. I don't like publicly do predictions just
Oh, that's
because
not a
of,
problem.
relationships and
Hmm.
whatnot. But let me clarify, relationships as in like always trying to remain neutral,
Yeah.
just out of respect for all these amazing fighters.
Hmm.
But I do think it'll be a great rematch. Do I agree that Stipe should be the underdog going into this? No. I mean, I think he has
Hmm.
proved himself and cemented, with all his accolades and everything he's done in that division to be the greatest heavyweight of all time. Or if not, if people want to bring in the Fedor argument, then I'll say one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Um, and also with Francis, I know his past 4 fights, they've all been about a minute 30, like within 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to see just kind of his evolution and what he's been working on. Obviously, it's things that his coach Eric Nixick and Dewey Cooper, which they're amazing coaches, and I know they're gonna do a great job
Hmm.
preparing him for this rematch. But as far as like in the octagon, these last couple of fights, I mean, to all of us, right, it's kind of hard to see what he's really worked on. Whereas even Stipe, I mean, we could see, even his fight, he fought DC 3 times, and we could see like the adjustments and whatnot that he makes every time. So yeah, I don't think that Stipe should be the underdog, but I think like what he said in the press conference, right? Vegas maybe doesn't like him, but
Yeah,
yeah, I think it'll be a great rematch, and yeah.
it'll be a barn burner for sure.
Oh, I'm super excited.
Is that the fight you're most excited for on the card, or is there another one?
Yes, and I was excited for Brian Ortega and Alex
I
Volkanovski. I'm
was
so
most
bummed.
excited for that fight. I was so bummed when
I'm
that.
so bummed, but I hope Alex, gets well soon.
Absolutely.
And I hope, they're able to rebook that
Hmm.
very soon.
Yeah, that was going to be a great fight.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. Well, Helen, looks like we just got about 30 minutes in right here. It was so great having you on. For people out there, again, this was Helen Yee. If you make it to Vegas, you got to go get her pizza at Naked City, and hopefully we can see her representing the USA in the 2024 Olympics. Thank you
Yeah,
so much, Helen.
thank you.